Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Athlete Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm super excited about our guest today. Our guest is a personal friend of mine, someone that you might already know, and someone who's making a huge difference. You know, our goal each month we have a podcast is to bring someone on who is really making a difference in their life, in other people's lives, and just around the world. And today's guest definitely does that. If you don't know our guest today, he is a content creator. He's a former YouTuber and still does a lot with social media. He consults with certain brands on brand strategy and, really just has done a lot of amazing things in real life, but also online. And I'm sure you've probably watched some of his videos in the past. And so he's doing some amazing work. Without further ado, our guest today is Jake Triplett. Jake, how are you doing today?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on, dude. This is exciting. We're both in suits today.
We're in suits.
So
We're
that's
feeling
pretty
good.
fun.
Yeah, funny story today. And I guess I'll let you tell the story too, Jake, from your perspective. But I thought it was pretty hilarious. I was speaking to a client today on leadership, and they brought me in to speak. And I texted Jake the other day. The event was in Kansas City where he lives, and I said, Jake, can you juggle? Like, can you juggle things on a stage? And what was your response to that? You said,
You text me, like, can you juggle 3 balls on a stage and then maybe drop when we get to the 4th one? And I said, I did that on Russia's Got Talent. So yeah, that should be no problem. And a week later, here we are. Alex said, I'm going to be dressed up. And I said, I like dressing up.
exactly. And I said, if you can do it on Russia's Got Talent, then hopefully you can do it in front of 200 employees at a company. So it went pretty
That's
well.
a typical stepping stone for any juggler. You go Russia's Got Talent, and then you go Alex Demczak, keynote speaker. I'm excited to see what's next after that.
Yeah, you're only on the rise after that. But no, today, literally, we were both in suits. We're at this client and speaking. It went great. The event was great. But it was pretty funny. It was it worked out pretty well. Jake, you went up there. We did some juggling. It kind of applied to the message we were talking about. So thank you for doing that today.
I will say these people, not to rag on them too much, not great slow clappers. Alex is like, we're kind of building up. Like, we juggle 1 ball. Obviously, that's easy. Then 2 balls. Okay, a little fancier. All right, now we're going to juggle 3 balls. We do that, and then we're going to juggle 4. All right, everyone, can I get a slow clap? Is that a slow clap? No, that's not a slow clap. You start, So great audience, but they need to work on their slow clapping. And I think ultimately that's why we couldn't juggle 4, because they weren't clapping good enough.
Exactly. If they would have been clapping at the right rhythm, then we would have been, when we were juggling, it would have all...
We might still be juggling on that stage.
Maybe even 5. I don't know. So,
if they would have clapped better.
Exactly. So anyway, today was a great day, and now we just wanted to have a few minutes here to share this message that kind of Jake, that he lives out. And today's topic that we want to focus on is the topic of just going for it. And as basic as that may sound, I think so few people actually live that out. They have dreams or goals or aspirations of things that they want to do, maybe bucket list items, things that they want to get around to doing someday, but they don't do them. And I think Jake, just being a personal friend of him for a lot of years now and just seeing it in his life, he's like the perfect example of someone who just goes for it. And I think that pays off in a lot of different ways, and it makes a huge impact. So I guess, Jake, just to start things here, when I say that you just go for it, I mean, do you even consider yourself as someone like that? And then I guess, if so, how has that played out in your life, just taking risks and going for it?
That's, I guess I would consider myself someone who goes for it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm nowhere to your level, but I have done a little bit of public speaking or like getting hired to speak, and people are like, oh, what's your talk about? And I always feel kind of self-conscious. And like,
Right.
It's so cheesy. It's just like going for your dreams. I feel so cheesy saying it, but like at the same time, that's been probably the main theme in my own life. I'm still in my 20s. I'm still pretty young, but I have taken a decent amount of risks. And so I feel, I guess, somewhat qualified to talk about it, but it does feel cheesy to tell people like, oh, my talk's about, going for it. You could do it, guys.
Right. No.
But yeah, that has happened. I've, so we met in college freshman year. You went off to Mizzou. I stayed at SBU, and from there took a job in youth ministry after college. And then around that time is when I picked up a camera for basically the first time and like actually fell in love with making videos. One thing led to another, and I was kind of given this opportunity, or asked to be a part of this opportunity, which is essentially a guy I didn't know at all. He was living in Dallas, Texas at the time, and he said, hey, I'm trying to start this YouTube channel. I know so-and-so who knows so-and-so who knows you, who's watched your videos and said they're good. Would you want to like come be a part of it? Like come live with me. I can't guarantee you any income, but I think it could be fun. And I was like, yes, it could be fun. You know, I don't know this person and yeah, there's no income. And, you know, it's not like I would just beaten off of their job offers with a stick. It wasn't that crazy. You know, it wasn't like, okay, saying no to teaching at Harvard or anything. But, you know, I definitely had other offers on the table. And these offers were guaranteeing me a salary and were exciting and different stuff that taken me all across the country. But that was one of the first big risks I think I took is I eventually went for that position, moved down to Dallas, moved away from all my family and friends, and moved in with this guy who I didn't know to, I guess, just chase the dream of being a YouTuber and just like believing in kind of the mission he put out for me. And so, yeah, I guess that's a quick summary of like one of those first risks I took in life.
No, that's really cool. And I heard a stat recently that said, I think it was in the early 1998, they did this study of like the average kid, what do they want to be when they grow up? And the average kid statistically said, I want to be an astronaut someday. And they did a poll here recently. I think it was like, you know, fifth graders. And literally what they said is, when I grow up, I want to be a YouTuber. And so I think that's kind of funny that literally now kids are looking at kind of what you've done in your career and saying, that's what I want to do. So, I mean, I think when you speak on that, it is very impactful for one in that way. But I guess you guys were able to kind of really grow that YouTube brand and all that. What was that like, I guess, doing that? And then even to what you're doing now, has content creation always come easy to you? Or is this something that you've had to work at?
First of all, that is kind of crazy when you put it like that I am like, because yeah, we're 90s kids. I remember when I wanted to be a firefighter or astronaut.
Right.
And then I was that for other kids. You know, that's kind of weird to think.
Right.
Maybe in like 10 years from now, the new job will be like, I want to be a YouTuber in space. I want to be an astronaut YouTuber.
That's right.
That's going to be the new dream job.
Right.
I got to do that now.
That's right.
But yeah, it was... So yeah, like I said, I went from youth ministry to YouTuber. Not the typical transition or route to take. You know, people are always like, how'd you get started? I'm like, there's nothing that I could tell you is going to help you in your journey because it is so like backwards, and I don't really think anyone gets into it like this. But it was, I think like all throughout college, it was fun to make videos. I didn't even own a camera, but it was just like making videos. Like we have cameras on our phones, and this is an outlet for like a funny idea I have, or like a funny like prank. Like it's one thing to do a prank, but like I could video it. Right. So I think it comes somewhat like naturally, not in the natural sense that like I'm naturally good at it, but just naturally that's how my brain thinks of. It's like, it would be, this is already fun, but how much more fun would it be if like I shared it with other people through like something that's going to last longer than a memory, like a video or a picture. So that always kind of made sense to me. Even from a young age, I was very much like a documentarian of the group. Like, we should take a picture to like remember this, you know, right guys? Like we should write our names in the cement so that we remember this day. You know, always loved doing things for posterity's sake. So
right.
However, none of that really helps you when you're trying to grow a YouTube channel, and it's never been easier to like make your own YouTube channel. Everyone's got, you know, internet access and cell phones in their pockets. So the barrier to entry has never been lower. And yeah, just trying to figure out, how do we stand out? I'll tell you one thing not to do. We were, you know, I moved down in like June. We've seen 2 straight months of basically no growth. We're like, crap, what are we doing? So we're like, what we'll do is maybe we're not uploading enough. We were uploading 3 times a week. So we're like, why don't, in the month of August, we upload every single day.
I remember that.
And yeah, it was 31 days to 31K was our idea. We'll get to 31,000 subscribers. And by the end of the month, it was awful. It was just like, first of all, I'm in Dallas, so we're shooting so much outdoors. I lost so much weight, I think, just in sweat. And then, I'm not joking, we lost subscribers. Like where we started in August, by September 1st, we were down.
Wow.
Sorry. We burped up some Dr. Pepper there. We literally lost subscribers. And so, yeah, it's like, man, all the blogs you read tell you to post more. And like, it was definitely not easy at first. We finally kind of hit our stride a few months later and got to a point where we finally saw some success. But yeah, it's definitely tough. And especially just like, you have to really love what you're doing if it's not being gratified by other people. You're like, wow, this is fun, but no one else thinks so. So I hope I like it.
No, that's great. And I think just to even see So you did a lot with juggling Josh and that, and then now you've been working with Trey
Yeah,
Kennedy.
and that's the guy.
Yeah.
We should tell everyone. The guy who I lived with, his name was Josh Horton, and he was randomly like a world-class juggler. And so our channel was kind of like sports and athletic based. So kind of funny that Alex and I juggled today, because I'm not a juggler, but I was around one for a year.
And even more full circle that we're on the Athlete Podcast. So.
Yes, yeah, I had a sporty YouTube channel on the Athlete Podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, part of our channel back in the day, we had a thing called World Record Wednesdays, and so we tried to break or set a world record every Wednesday. And I think I was talking to you at one point. We talked about trying to set one. It was like you as a former quarterback, me as a juggler's friend, trying to set the world record for like most one-handed passes caught in a minute or something. We never got around to that.
We talked to that, but then you were on Ocho Cinco's show. You were on that. What was that show called? Next
Trick Shots, America's Next Top Model. Is that what it was? No, Next Trick Shot Superstar is what it was called.
That was pretty cool to watch. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I should have thrown your name in, like to Ocho Cinco. Hey, I know a quarterback. If you're trying to get in the XFL,
good. Washed up. Yeah, that would have been good. But no. Thanks for kind of breaking that down. And I think, just seeing what you're doing now, it's pretty inspiring with the social media, the reach that you have. For people that maybe don't put a lot, maybe if they're self-employed or they just don't have a presence on social media as far as putting themselves out there. One thing I've noticed from you is that a lot of times on social media, everyone just wants to project their best selves. They want to just make themselves look good. I think one thing that I've always observed that you do a great job of is you take videos of yourself when you're like stranded on a boat in some random place, and I mean, maybe that's not funny for you at that moment, but it's funny for the viewer to be like, oh man, what's going to happen to Jake? Like, I want to tune in. You're so good at just being, I guess, vulnerable and authentic in what you post, to where, we've talked about this before. You have people coming up to you on the street that they think you guys are best friends and you've really never met them, but they're like, Jake, let's go out and have a drink or something. You're like, all right, whatever. I guess, what's that like, and what's the power of being authentic in social media and the way that you put yourself out there?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it's very valuable because people are getting better and better. And in fact, they've never been better at like seeing through BS. I feel like through their phone, like 10 years ago, people were getting scammed through like the Nigerian prince emails. Like, oh my gosh, he's really in trouble. We got to help him, hon. I'm going to Western Union right now to wire him money.
Yeah, wire him the money. Yeah.
Yeah. And like as a society, except for maybe our grandparents, but we've all gotten better and better at like seeing through BS, even to the point now where it's like you even see Taco Bell posting, whatever they have on their Instagram story, and like that looks so fake, or, from a corporate or brand standpoint, or even just like your favorite influencer, like we're very good at seeing through fakeness online, I think. And so if you can like swing the pendulum the opposite way and not be fully like 100%, here is everything. You would not believe the size of this poop today, guys. Look at this. Like, I'm not saying do that. I still keep a lot of things to myself. I'm very careful about like, so I'm a single guy, but yeah, nothing about my relationships with women or anything like that. It's definitely to myself. Like relationships with my family or my close friends, like I definitely keep things to myself. But yeah, like you were talking about, I was in Mexico 2 months ago, and I come out of a restaurant, and my car is towed. Or not even, I don't even know if it's towed. My car is just gone. My rental car is gone. I'm in Mexico. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what's going on. But I was like, whatever. Other people will think this is funny. I'm pretty stressed, but, just that feeling of like being authentic and still making light of things. If anything, it's more therapeutic for me. Like, well, if people are laughing, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I will find my car magically. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of power in just being authentic and not being fully 100% your transparent self, but yeah, just letting people in and feeling, even if you're not letting them in that much, giving people the idea that they're being let in on you. When I tell people, hey, and this is a true story, I got bit by this tick and now I can't eat red meat. Isn't that crazy? Like people know this thing about me now, and that's something for them to talk about when they see me. And, that's not that personal. At least to me, it doesn't feel that personal, but letting people in can be such a valuable tool online.
Letting people in, I like that. And since you've been in college, since we've known each other, after college, you've been essentially self-employed, working for yourself, don't have a boss since college, and that's been, a few years now. And I guess what's that for you been like? Because I would say the average person just finds a job, but you've kind of paved your own trail. I guess one, what has that been like to just, hey, I got to go out and, bring home to dinner what I'm going to eat, as far as I need to go out and hunt and kill is, that's how an entrepreneur has to think. Is you might not have an automatic paycheck each month from an employer, but you're going out there and you're producing all these things to then, have your income from that. So I guess, what has that been like to be an entrepreneur when most people, I would say, the average thing to do would be just get a job? You found other ways and things that I think you enjoy doing. What's that been like?
It's definitely not for everyone, but I think it is for more people than you would think, or like most people would think. I think a lot of people think like, oh, you need to be like this like type A, certain kind of person to be an entrepreneur. And I'll tell you right now, I am so type B. I am, for the most part, not that motivated, not that disciplined in so many areas of my life. And yeah, if you find that right industry or the right path, like, yeah, anyone can be an entrepreneur. I know that kind of just contradicts what I said. It's not for everyone, but I think that like, I don't know, there's so much freedom to it. And that's the biggest thing. Like, you can't put a price tag on the freedom you have. Like, if anyone's ever in town, yeah, I can probably get lunch with them. You know, like, that's amazing. I know that's probably not what most entrepreneurs would tell you. Like, it's awesome to be able to get lunch with your friends. But just like the freedom you have of, and I've been very fortunate enough to be like, you know, a single guy with, you know, not a lot of responsibilities in my life. Like, that's been easier for me to take risk in my life. It's, you know, allowed me to not have a stable income, because I realize, and I've tried to gain as much perspective as I can, that like, I'm in a position right now where like, if I wanted to make more money, I can go out and do that. And that's probably not going to be the case. You know, 20 years from now, even 10 years from now, I could very much have a normal job where I know exactly how much money I'm going to make, and things are more set in line for me. But right now it's fun to just feel this freedom of like, I can work really hard in July so that I can take 2 weeks of vacation in August. And that is just, the freedom on that is incredible. And I hope it's something that never goes away. I actually kind of have a little life goal to hopefully never use my resume. Like, made one senior year of college and haven't used it yet. 28 years old now. So that's my goal, is to never use a resume and just keep hopping from one thing to the next.
That's a pretty inspiring goal. That's amazing.
Because yeah, I mean, it really is awesome. I don't know how many other ways there are to say it, but just like, yeah, the freedom aspect, and just like, yeah, I'd never want to go to a spot where I'm having to like be told what to do, or be told where to be, and to sit here, do this. And yeah, that's everyone really deserves to feel this feeling.
No, it's really cool. And, you know, when we talk about just going for it in life, I could think of a lot of different stories where you know, examples of you doing that. But one funny story that I'm sure a lot of people listening have seen was the Limo Story. So I remember, I think it was over the summer, a few summers ago, and we were talking on the phone, and you're telling me, yeah, Alex, it's a crazy story. Me and a few buddies were like gonna go, you know, buy this $2,800 limo in Maine, and then go from state to state and like do cool things for people. You know, I don't want to tell the whole story. I want you to kind of tell the listeners here, but like, that was a crazy thing that you did. Can you kind of break down what you guys did on that trip, the purpose, and like what you learned from that? Because that, like, not many people get the chance to do that, and that was pretty fun to watch. Yeah, that was another huge byproduct of being 26 and still single and not that many responsibilities, because I'm sure a lot of people would love to do something like this, but it's just easier when they're in that position. But still risky nonetheless. So I was at a point with Josh and our YouTube channel where things had really taken off and really grown. We had 170,000 subscribers. You know, I was not going to do anything else for a living, and that was in only a year. That was like by the next June. We were at 170,000. I was making my entire living off YouTube. I was doing what, you know, the average fifth grader. I was doing their dream job. Like, I had it. I had made it, and things were only growing and everything. But yeah, the way I describe it to people is essentially my life was at that time a 9 out of 10. It's like, it was really, really good. I was really happy. I liked Dallas. I loved working with Josh. The videos we made were fun, and people were obviously enjoying them, and it was growing. But there was still a part of me that was like, okay, but could my life be a 10 out of 10? Like, I don't know. I think it could be. Like, why not go for it? Why not try? And obviously I realize I know I keep saying it, but not everyone can afford to take a risk like that. But I basically went for it, where I'd had this idea and this vision with another friend of mine to just kind of mesh the two things that I think most dudes love anyway. You know, just an epic road trip, and then my other passion was just like documenting things, and it's like traveling and making videos. And so combined them, and we had this idea that was named Ellen, We Bought a Limo. So like, yeah, like you said, we went and bought, so I'm all over the place right now, but basically I quit this YouTube channel, just like randomly, just in the middle of nowhere, cold turkey. It was like, I quit, and I'm pursuing this limo pipe dream idea. And the idea was to buy a limousine off Craigslist in Maine, travel through every lower 48 state in the US, with the hopes of, by the time we get to Los Angeles, getting on the Ellen show. And part of that was kind of like a branding thing. Like, for me, as like kind of the marketing guy, like, okay, if we're going to start this channel, it needs to kind of have like a mission, a goal. I think it's easier for people to get behind a goal. Right. Because, you know, I'll be honest, we're not the biggest Ellen DeGeneres fans. Like, sure, who doesn't love Ellen? But it's not like, we have to see Ellen. Right. Oh, I love her. But it's still awesome. And Ellen stands for a lot of really good things. And obviously, we do love her, and she's awesome. And so a part of Ellen's brand that we incorporated, what we did is, yeah, we're making these silly, ridiculous videos as we're traveling through every state, but we also try to do some really thoughtful and caring things. And so we set up a GoFundMe account
that our viewers, for the most part strangers, were donating to and just trusting us as fellow strangers to just allocate wisely, which is kind of a crazy ask. Like,
Right.
hey, do you guys want to give us money? And then we'll just choose what it goes towards. And it was really awesome. So got to like, for lack of a better word, just like bless so many people along the way. And we didn't have a plan for it. We just kind of kept an open mind and open ears and eyes to just like always be on the lookout for someone who could be in need or could get help. And so, yeah, we would just meet all kinds of people. I mean, granted, we were driving a beat up old limo with Ellen's face stuck on the side of it and the back of it. So it was pretty easy to draw attention from people. But yeah, gave away like, I think $10,000 worth of money from our GoFundMe. We gave a guy who had just been exonerated from prison, his life back. Basically, we gave him a car to start driving. And then we set up a separate GoFundMe just for him that raised another like $7,000. And so it was really cool to, do all this and to make all these fun videos that people are loving, and then occasionally throw in these like heartwarming videos that are actually helping people. And then in the end, just to kind of finalize the last bullet point, we made it on the Ellen Show, which is super cool. Just I mean, it was 80 days, and had we not gone on the Ellen Show, it's not like, oh well, what a failure of a trip. Like, it obviously was not a failure at that point, but to like accomplish what we set out to do, which is get on the Ellen Show, and then to just like have that be validated. Like, I took this big risk. It was a silly risk. I realized that. It was so silly. But yeah, I mean, I quit this very successful, very thriving YouTube channel, a dream job for most people, to go after this pipe dream I had, basically just because I couldn't get it out of my head. I wanted to see what it would be like if I lived that 10 out of 10 life. And I did it, and I had it validated by so many people along the way, and especially Ellen DeGeneres in the end. And that's what I feel like everyone deserves to feel, more so than even just like being an entrepreneur, the freedom that comes with it, just like going after that thing that you can't help but think about when you're doing the part of your job that sucks and you're washing dishes, or even if you have a great job, but there's that one part of it that you're like, oh, I got to put in the Excel spreadsheets. And while you're doing that, you're daydreaming about something else you want to be doing. Like, what would it take for you to like give that thing a shot? Because I could tell you firsthand, like, that was euphoric, like, because it was validated.
Wow, that's very rich. Thanks for sharing that, and that's awesome to hear that story from your perspective, because it was fun to watch on a national scale. So many people were following that story. Today we rented out the Ghost Runners podcast studio. So thanks for renting that out to the Athlete Podcast.
Oh, of course.
We were honored to be in this studio. You and Brad do a great job with that podcast. Tell us about the podcast, because you guys you guys are growing. It's an amazing podcast. Literally, like, my wife Erin, she'll be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, she comes home from work. Did you hear Jake's podcast? Like, I'm like, "Sorry, I had to like work today. I haven't." She's like, you need to listen to it. Like, it's so good. She's like, and she'll just tell me like some life update about you, which is great. So then like I know what's going on with you too through your podcast.
Then we don't have to call each other.
Yeah, we don't have to call. Yeah, one less call. I'm kidding. No, but tell us just about the podcast. This is a nice studio. I mean, you guys are moving up in the world. This is pretty awesome.
We got some plywood in my basement.
Plywood in the basement. Tell us about the podcast too, and kind of the vision of that.
Yeah, so I'll be honest. Most things I've done in life, even if it like seemed fun, there was at least a little bit of vision behind it. Like the LMB about a limo thing. Like, it seemed so fun, but I kind of had a vision. Like, I think it could become this. I think we could grow it to this. And then who knows? The podcast, like, honestly, genuinely, was so much of just like, this will be fun. I started this podcast with my friend Brad, who's not anywhere in the same like industry I'm in. Like, he's a woodworker. He doesn't make YouTube videos. He's not a creator, quote unquote, by any means. He's just my friend. And I just wanted to start a podcast because that's what you do if you're a white guy in your 20s. You have to start a podcast. It's the rules now. You have to. And so I generally told Brad, I was like, I think 30 people will listen to the first one, and I'm totally okay with that. It'll just be fun. Like, if anything, it'll strengthen our friendship because we'll have an hour-long conversation every week. And yeah, it's just been so cool. I don't know what it is about it because we don't talk about anything serious. We just joke around for an hour every Monday. And people just really like it for some reason. It's grown pretty much every week since we started. And yeah, we're down here now. We have our own studio, which is kind of crazy. And it's really, really fun. And it's such a cool thing, especially when my background is, videos take a long time to shoot and forever to edit. And it's like, I can just talk to my friend and make money. Oh, this is awesome. This is so easy.
Exactly.
I'll talk to my friend all day. Yeah, so podcasting is great. You guys should all start one. If you're
okay.
Yeah, if you're a millennial and you haven't yet, you need to.
No, that's awesome. And also with this stuff you have going on, you've been working a lot with Trey Kennedy and all the hilarious videos that he does, and you've been doing all that. I guess, can you go into that about what your day-to-day looks like with that? And then you guys have some pretty exciting stuff coming up this fall. Actually, no, in like 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, this spring first.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So when the limo stuff got over, I moved back to Kansas City and started working very, very part-time with like an Instagram comedian and influencer. Yeah, by the name of Trey Kennedy, like Alex said. And yeah, it was just very like simple at first. I was just like filming, some of his videos, and it was chill. And one thing kind of led to another. And now we're to the point where I'm full-time with Trey. And I mean, full-time in the sense that, I don't know, it's kind of like a gray area of like, it's not really like employing me, but basically he's a comedian, an online like content creator. And so like I help write for him, I help film and help edit for him. And we've just got a lot of cool stuff going on. We do a lot of just like short little skits for Instagram and Facebook, but more recently Trey and I wrote our own like TV show basically, because it's kind of a cool point in life where, you know, I think the older generation would say, even I'll get comments or messages and be like, oh, you should have your own show or something, which is obviously very nice. I'm not complaining about that. But basically, like, I think what a lot of people don't see is like, if someone has a successful YouTube channel, that's the show nowadays. Like, you're looking at my show. You're looking at it right now.
Right.
Like, some of the biggest YouTubers are pulling bigger numbers than Jimmy Fallon, way bigger than Oprah Winfrey. You know, like all these people who have shows
that's crazy.
are getting less views than a lot of these YouTubers. And so like,
wow.
So all that to say, you know, a bunch of people have hit up Trey over the years because he's been very popular and successful, and just like, you know, these production companies, hey, love your stuff, man. Would love to like try and like sit down and write like a web series or a TV show or a movie with you. And, you know, Trey's been like, yeah, I'm interested. And the next thing you know is he's 8 months deep in emails with them and nothing's happened. And so Trey got to a point, he's like, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. And so it was a big step. Neither one of us had written anything longer than a 3-minute video for Instagram, but we wrote this whole show and filmed it, hired like a full cast and crew. Trey stars in it. I help out, you know, I wrote some of it, and then I play one of the characters. And so that's really exciting. That's coming out here in a few weeks as well. And then around the same time that's coming out, we're going on like a big old stand-up comedy tour, which is crazy. So we're visiting like 21 different cities, like 25 shows across like the United States, and going to try to like make people laugh, which is pretty nerve-wracking because like they're paying money to come laugh and we can't let them down. But we've been testing stuff out. I'm actually going to open mic night tonight and gonna probably bomb and be like, okay, don't say those jokes to the paying customers. But yeah, summarize, just a lot of exciting stuff going on.
That's really great. That's awesome. And we were actually talking about this after my speech today for that client. We were talking afterwards, and we were kind of drawing on the fact that there's a lot of similarities. Like I'm not very funny compared to you, but there's a lot of similarities with like being a speaker and you know, being a stand-up comedian, because you know, you might go to one audience and things are just rolling. You know, things are going great. I remember listening to Kevin Hart. He had a podcast that he talked about like it takes months to like create this content, and then you go out and deliver it, and then you have to learn like, oh, that joke didn't go well.
Yeah.
And so I guess what's that been like for you when we go back to the beginning of like just going for it, putting yourself out there? A lot of times, you know, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, just as a person, when you put yourself out there, it's not always going to be well received. Not everyone will get on board with your message in some sense, you know, in some ways. What's that like as someone who you've had your share of, maybe you know, there's probably certain stories you could reference on, you know, times that you've had certain things that you've tried to do, they haven't worked, but then instead of just quitting, you continue to do those. And then now look where you're at today. I guess, can you speak to that for someone who maybe has had a bad experience with that or just needs the motivation to keep going?
Yeah, I think a lot of where I've made my decisions, especially the big decisions over the years, have come down to what do I want to not regret doing 20 years from now? Like when I'm 45 and really lame and, you know, have a wife and kids, like, do I want to be able to say like, oh, I wish I would have gone on that limo trip, or what would it have been like if I had done that trip? And so a lot of it comes down to that. Like, and so on one end, yeah, even just like going to an open mic night where I know there's going to be 15 people in the room and no one's going to laugh, even if I probably do have a hilarious joke, because everyone's just like waiting for their turn to go. You know, I don't want to have to wonder like, well, what if I would have tested that joke out rather than wait till the actual show, you know, and then I bomb in front of 900 people instead of the 15 in this room. And so I've learned, yeah, just like, you don't want to have to like put yourself in a position to be scared of what you didn't do in the past. And one quick story from back in the day, it was a pretty decent lesson to learn. I'll try to tell it really quick, but if you guys remember American Idol, I think it's back on TV on like a new network now, but back in the American Idol's heydays, you know, everyone watched it. Kelly Clarkson, Ruben Studdard is the best. Yep. And they used to put on like the funny people or the bad people. Like everyone loved watching the early episodes, you know, because they would just like put on these
they bomb, right?
Yeah. Every now and then they just throw in this guy who's terrible, and he's like, "Let me sing another one," or just like people are just freaking weirdos. And
right.
They would also put on people in costumes sometime. And anyway, the year was 2011. American Idol was still doing well, and so me and my friends decided, why couldn't that be us? Why can't we be the people in costumes? And so we drove all the way to San Diego for the auditions. We dressed up as the 4 Fruit of the Loom characters and wrote this song. I mean, it was stupid. None of us could really sing except for one guy. It wasn't meant to be good. It was just meant to be entertaining. And it went like remarkably well. It started with like 15,000 people. And the next thing you know, we're in the top 300 and we're on to round 2 the next day. And then get through that. Round 3, and they say, guys, this is awesome. This is the kind of stuff we want to see on TV. Come back for the celebrity judges round. We're like, this is amazing. So we made it to the top 50 of American Idol. That was in the summer. And then like, we'll email you in the fall whenever the celebrity judges round is. So I'm going back to college being like, you guys are not going to believe what happened to me this summer. Like, I'm going to be on freaking TV. And, you know, like, I'm trying to tell everyone this stories, but this is before Instagram. I don't really have that much to show them. I'm just like, trust me, like it was crazy. Like the cameras loved us. You know, we're doing all this stuff, and you know, it was the coolest excuse ever. I'm having an email, you know, so they eventually email me. I get to email my professor. Hey, gonna miss business calculus. Gotta go hang out with Ryan Seacrest for the weekend. I'm gonna be gone on Monday. Like actually, I was just gone for like 3 days and went back out to San Diego. They flew us out to do the celebrity judges round. It was awesome. Yeah, I got to hang out and meet some Ryan Seacrest. Randy Jackson, Steven Tyler, and Jennifer Lopez were the judges. Asked Jennifer Lopez for a kiss. She said no, but hey, still, I put myself out there though.
Put yourself out there, but you did it.
I still did it. I was in an apple costume. I actually didn't plan this out. I wanted it to be organic. A pun. That wasn't planned either.
That was a great pun. That was good.
But I said, hey, Jennifer, you know how they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away? I was thinking if I gave you a little kiss on the cheek, that would help you out for today. And I'll never forget it. She said, no thanks, I'm pretty healthy. And I said, all right, see you later.
She was quick on her feet.
Yeah, she was. I was like, I like that about you, Jennifer. But we have not spoken since. So we're kind of rocky terms right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we go out there and it's really fun. The cameras are like loving us even more than they were the first 3 rounds. Like our song that we had made up about being fruits and yada yada, like they loved it. They took us around different parts of San Diego and like made a music video with us. Like I'm literally frolicking around this beach, rapping this song that I wrote, you know, in the car on the way there. Like how did I get here? Ford was one of the biggest sponsors of American Idol back in the day, so we filmed a commercial in like a brand new Ford Mustang. You know, I'm like, I'm gonna be a superstar when this episode comes out. This is crazy. Sorry, this story's taking forever, but
no,
like,
it's good.
The build-up is important because there's all this build-up like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is so easy. All I did was buy a $25 costume off Amazon, and now I'm going to be like a star. Like Ellen DeGeneres is going to see this. You know, who knows what could happen? And so I can't wait to tell everyone, like, everyone knows about this. American Idol's Facebook page even put up a picture of us. We're like, make sure you tune in tomorrow night after the Giants game to see American Idol. So then I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's on.
It's happening. Oh my gosh. Like, my mom is a teacher, and she said they made an announcement at the high school. All right, class is dismissed, but tune in to American Idol on Fox tonight at 7 to see Stratford's own Jake Triplett. You know, I'm like, okay. You know, college professors are emailing me. You know, so excited to watch you tonight. Maybe some of you guys see where this is going. We did not end up getting on TV. No. I still to this day have no idea why. I don't know. I don't know if it could have been like a last minute licensing thing with Fruit of the Loom. My other theory is like that was kind of around the time right when The Voice and X Factor came out. And so I think American Idol felt this competition of like, oh, we got to like be kind of more serious as a show now. Either way, I told a lot of people about this. I'm in like with like 40 of my best friends in like this huge living room in college. And then, you know, it's 30 minutes in. Okay, still haven't seen us. Okay, 45 minutes in. All right, we got like one more commercial break here. And then
you're sweating at this point.
Yeah, people are texting me. Hey, is this the right episode? Like, yeah, it's definitely right. And not even like our commercial, nothing aired. And then I just, boom, goes to black. Executive producer, whatever. I'm like, oh no, oh no. That was a weird moment. Just like, obviously I didn't do anything wrong, but I just felt like I let so many people down. Like they announced this at my high school. You know how embarrassing that is? Like, oh jeez. So anyway, to tie this back to your question about like, yeah, that could have been a moment where I was like, I am never going to let people in again. I'm tired of letting people into my life. I'm not going to get anyone excited about anything, which I did take some of that away of like, all right. Like even now, like let's say I were to start like dating a girl, like that's something that I would definitely keep to myself for a long time, I think.
Right.
Just because that's something that's like
personal.
Yeah, it's pretty personal, and like that's something that people are going to ask questions about. That's something that people are going to get excited about when really they don't need to be. This is my thing. You know, this is for me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was a big moment of like, okay, really fun. maybe don't tell everyone you've ever met about something that you don't know is going to happen. Made that mistake again a couple years ago when I thought I was going to win this competition, the Cancun thing.
Yes, that was crazy.
I screwed up then too. But all that to say, it didn't deter me. If anything, I was just like, well, what am I going to do? Shut down and just like not take away any positives from this? And I feel like I took away a lot of stuff. It's like, okay, I guess I'm somewhat charismatic with people. I feel like I didn't do that much, but American Idol producers really liked us, and this was fun. And what else could I do? And I think that that was like the first instance in my life where I felt success from going after something that's slightly abnormal or slightly like off the beaten path, and kind of led me through this trajectory that I'm now on, where it's quite frankly kind of hard to describe what I do. I'm like, I guess, like, yeah, I have a podcast, but I wouldn't say I'm a podcaster. That feels like, high and mighty. Or I wouldn't say comedian either. I haven't earned that. I'm not a comedian. That's, you have to earn that. So I don't know. I just tell people I work in marketing and hope they don't ask me any more questions.
They just stop the conversation right there.
Yeah, like, oh, cool. Like, thank you. What do you do?
No, thanks for sharing that. And I think just the overarching message of what you preach on a daily basis and the things that you do in life and on your social media platforms, I think it is inspiring, for business owners myself. I think it's cool to see the way that you put yourself out there, and it's easy to want to just kind of, like you say, maybe something goes wrong and then you just don't do it as much, but you've just continued to like have amazing content that people love to listen to, love to watch, love to read. And so, yeah, just congrats to you for all the success that you've had for sure on that. It's been fun to watch and be a part of the ride. It's been,
thanks, dude.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess just to close, I think, this episode is different, but I think it's super important that as, maybe current athletes, former athletes, business owners, employees at a job, it's very easy to get stuck in a rut, maybe, to where you think, I can't make a difference. Why am I in this role? What does the future look like? Kind of the imposter syndrome feeling of, man, am I good enough? We had an episode about that here recently. But yeah, what would you say to encourage people who maybe don't really know where they're headed? Obviously, like 5 years ago, you probably never could have predicted you'd be doing what you're doing now.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So I guess for someone that's in that stage, wherever that is, adult, kid, doesn't matter, what advice would you give them, knowing what you know now, on what to do in moving forward, not knowing the future?
The main thing that comes to mind is just a question I'm always asking myself of, I feel like scatterbrained a lot of the time, and I'm doing like 4 different kind of careers right now, and like 5 years from now, I'll probably only be doing one of them. And I don't even know which one it's going to be. I don't know what I'm really doing. Like, people ask me, what's your 5-year plan? I'm like, I have no idea. Like, the world is moving so fast that it almost seems silly to have a 5-year plan in the industry that I'm in. But the bottom line that I always ask myself is just like, what is the root of, one, what I am passionate about and care about? What is that? And then, like, am I doing that in the different things that I'm doing? So, like, let's say I would ask some like college student, like, what do you want to do? I want to be a doctor someday. Okay, well, why do you want to be a doctor? Oh, I just, I like medicine. I like the human body, and, it'd be fun to help people. Okay, but why? Okay, well, it's just fun I like how I feel when I'm helping people. Okay, but why? Why that even? And you break it down to the core of it, and then you find out, like, okay, I like helping people who can't help themselves. So you take the core of that, like, passion you have, and like, okay, it's going to be another 7 years of school before I can, become a doctor technically. But I can help people who can't help themselves in some capacity almost every day, or at least on a weekly basis. Like, you can have this open mind to do that. And like, once you identify your core, like, passion, or at least one of them, you could find ways to do that. And I think one of my core passions is just like entertaining and sharing and just like, bringing joy to people's lives from my own life. And not in a degrading way, not necessarily a self-deprecating way, but just in like a joyful, positive way. That's something easy and natural for me. And so I'm doing all these different things, but the core of it remains the same. And just like bringing joy to people's lives, entertaining them having fun alongside me having fun doing it. And I'm just extremely proud to be able to do that and thankful that I get to do that. And so for every person out there, just ask yourself, like, what is one of my core passions, if I really break it down, and how could I do that in my everyday life? If, you are more tied down, you have more things going on, you can't just hop in a limo and travel around with your friends for 80 days, but you could still do the things you're passionate about on a smaller scale.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. That's super deep, but super applicable as well. And I think we can all learn from your story and how you've done that. So, I think this was a great conversation. thank you so much for coming on today. I think this was super helpful just to hear your perspective on things that maybe come easy to you, but other people not at all. And so, yeah, thanks for being on the show.
I'm honored.
Thanks for letting us rent out the Ghost Runners studio. This is pretty nice dig.
Thanks for letting me come into my podcast studio, dude. I appreciate it.
You're welcome anytime. You're welcome.
No, hey, I made it on the Athlete Podcast, and I, played some high school sports, and that's it. So I am honored here. I'm the honored one to be able to make it. I did catch some passes from you back in the day.
That's true.
It hurt my hands.
That's right. There's a lot of honor to be going around here. So this is a nice studio. It's great. But thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to connect with Jake, I'm going to put all his info in the show notes. You can follow his next journey. Here in a few weeks, he'll be on a pretty cool comedy tour. So we're all going to be tuning into that. Jake, thanks once again. You guys have a great day and keep making a difference.